All right, I think we have a bunch of folks and it's 11 o'clock, so I will get started. I'll start a little slowly so that we can let other folks arrive. Thank you everybody for joining us. I really appreciate everyone taking the time. Please put your name and company or organization in the chat so we just have a sense for who's here. We are going to be talking about the 2024 Tastemakers program. I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of CEI and our partner Focus Maine, and then a brief overview of the program. I hope that folks had a chance already to look at the application guidelines on the website. And so I don't want to get too deep into all the details because I want to allow time for everyone to ask questions. That's really what we're here for. So, great. I'm gonna get started if it will let me. I'm having trouble. There we go. All right, so I'm going to give just a little overview of CEI. We are a Maine-based community development finance institution. So essentially that means we are a nonprofit organization that helps to support small businesses in the state of Maine. Our mission is to build a just, vibrant, and climate resilient future for all of the people and communities in Maine. And the way that we do that is by providing small businesses in the state with financing, business expertise, and policy solutions. We are partnering the Tastemakers program is in partnership with Focus Maine. I believe we may have Courtney on the call from Focus Maine. So Courtney, feel free to speak up if you're here. Focus Maine is focused as seeking to accelerate the creation of quality jobs in Maine. And they have three areas of focus: agriculture, aquaculture, and biopharmaceuticals. So the Tastemakers program is a grant program, and the purpose is to help established food and beverage companies, including agriculture and aquaculture businesses, expand, improve production capacity, and create jobs and meet targeted growth goals. I included a link to our webpage that has the application and all of the details here. So I hope that you'll go there after this if you haven't already. The areas of funding that this program supports are essentially strategic growth opportunities. I want to emphasize this is really about finding a way to help your business grow, create jobs, and through operational improvements. So that could look like human resources capabilities. Are you looking to add 5 employees and don't have an employee manual or need to understand better the legal requirements? These grants can offer the opportunity to help you hire a consultant to help you build some of those capabilities. The other kinds of projects, facility design, I want to emphasize construction costs are not covered. We are this year for the first year, including the purchase of equipment. So that is allowed, and I just want to, I think it's important to state that when we look at equipment purchases, as you're thinking about whether or not this grant opportunity is a good fit for your business, I want to make sure that you are thinking about not just replacing a piece of old equipment that's sort of getting a little bit rusty and you need to upgrade. We're thinking about some pieces of equipment that will help you to expand, maybe create a new product line. Maybe it's really that the equipment that you have is a constraint in the capacity for production. So you need a bigger piece of equipment that's really going to help you to get to the next level. Research and development for new products, quality management systems, process improvement. This is not there are other opportunities. And if you are, this is not an extensive list. If there's something that you feel like fits, but you're not sure, feel free to reach out to us. And my email will be on the end of this presentation. I will also, Tara, can you add the Tastemakers email address on here? It's also on the webpage, but it would be great to just have it in the chat. Thank you. And I think I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning of this presentation and to introduce Tara as well. So I apologize. My name is Bradley Russell. I'm the Director of Sustainable Agriculture and Food Systems at Coastal Enterprises. And also on the call, I have Tara Clark, and she is helping out with the Tastemakers program. And she's going to be monitoring the chat and the Tastemakers email account as well. So she can help to answer questions. So in terms of projects that are eligible for this funding, we have, you must be a Maine-based business. You must either be an agriculture, aquaculture, or fishery business or source from a Maine agriculture, aquaculture, or fishery business. Food and beverages for human consumption. We don't at this time include food, pet food or animal food. And we can't include any kind of cannabis production as well. Unfortunately, recipients of the Tastemakers funds in 2023 are not eligible for 2024 funding. Projects must be shovel ready. And by that, we mean this is a short timeline for these projects. We have applications are due. I'll get into the timeline at the end. But essentially, it's a sort of 8-month period that you have really to spend these funds. And so it's a decent amount of money, and the project size is will likely be challenging to fit into that timeline. And so these projects really need to be ready to go. And so that's why we say shovel ready. And then incomplete applications are not considered. Often we'll get applications that come in that don't have all of the information. And yes, I will. I just see in the chat, someone is asking if we'll share the slides via email. Unfortunately, we didn't have folks register. I just wanted this to be as open as possible. So we don't have everyone who's going to be on the call. We won't have your email addresses. But what we will do is post this, we'll post the slides and also the recording of this webinar on the website. So if you aren't able to access them in that way, feel free to email the Tastemakers email address and we will send it to you. That's no problem. Priorities. So these are projects that will grow your business with the goal of increasing your revenue and adding good jobs. And what do we mean by good jobs? We mean jobs that provide some type of benefits, that have competitive pay. And of course, this depends on the industry. It depends on, a lot of things. But we would like to see that you are already doing this, or you're thinking about ways to improve the jobs and the benefits that you provide to your employees in the next few years. BIPOC, women, and veteran-owned businesses, more than 51% ownership, will receive priority. Projects that increase the sourcing of Maine-grown products or Maine-caught products in the case of fisheries, I guess. Innovative projects. Innovation, of course, is such a tricky word, and so this does not need to be a new piece of technology. By innovative, we mean new ideas, creating something that hasn't been done before, or creating a business process that's new and exciting. That's the kind of thing we're talking about with innovative. And then these are everyday. We're going to prioritize everyday healthy foods. So, again, that's a bit subjective, but we're looking for, you know, products that people are going to be choosing to eat, let's say on a weekly basis, and something that is healthy for people to eat. Okay, these are just the little final details. I have cruised through this over 10 minutes, so that's great. We'll have a ton of time for questions. So applications are due Friday, March 1st at 11:59 p.m. Awardees will be notified by March 31st. This is a really tight turnaround. We realize that. And it just sort of, this is the way that it's going to be this year, and hopefully we'll be able to extend a little bit in future years. Projects must be implemented by December 1st. So if this is part of a larger project, and that larger project won't be completed by December 1st, that's okay. But the part of the project that is being paid for with these funds must be completed by December 1st. All of the applications will be looked at by a committee and rated on the priority areas that we've discussed. And the applications will be selected through a competitive process. Every organization that is awarded will be asked to fill out a survey for the project impacts for the following 3 years. The survey, I can talk a little bit more in detail, but it will ask questions based on, how has your revenue changed? How many jobs have you included? How much of your sourcing is coming from main products. Those are the kind of things that will be in that survey. And that's it for the for my presentation about the program. I went through things really, really quickly. I'm happy to go back over any areas that folks want to hear more about, but really I want to just allow all of you to ask questions and, have a chance to just sort of dive in a little deeper. Courtney, I see that you are here. If you want to introduce yourself, feel free. And otherwise, I'll just open it up to questions. You can, if you would like, you can put your question in the chat. You could also, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And now I think we can all see each other. I can't see absolutely everyone at the same time. So I would say you can use the hand raise button. You can put your questions in the chat, or if it works, we can just have people take themselves off of mute and ask questions.
We do have a question in the chat, Bradley.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that question. I realized that I didn't include that. Yeah, so how many grants are awarded and what are the amounts? Thank you for that. So we have a total pool of $225,000 to award. The grants will be up to $25,000. So if we receive if all of the awarded grants are $25,000, then we'll be able to award 9 grants. My estimate is it will be probably between 9 to 15 awards made. That's another question I see in the chat. Is alcohol production eligible? Hard cider. So I will say yes, we have included alcohol in the past. It is eligible, but because we are focusing on healthy foods, it will likely not be in the prioritized. So if there are it won't receive as many sort of prioritization points as a non-alcohol product. How many grant applications did we receive in the past? It's a great question. I would say in the past, we've received around 50 applications. However, we did not include equipment purchase in the past. I do expect that that number will rise because of the inclusion of equipment as eligible. So, you know, I can't say exactly what we'll receive this year, but my guess is it'll be more than that. Is there a way to see the application before you start? Yeah, that's a great question. So I will say, so the question is there a way to see the application before you start? I know the questions often require a lot of preparation. So what I'll say is that what you can do is we can create a PDF of the application, I'm sure, and put it onto the website. So that's a great suggestion, and we can do that. What I will also say is just in the meantime, you can get in there and basically, if you start the application, it only has a few questions to start. As soon as you get through the question, which is, were you a Tastemakers recipient from 2023? If you press no, then you will see the rest of the application. And I believe that's it. So, so that's a way of just being able to see all of the questions at once. And then you don't have to fill it out. You can save your application, so you don't have to fill it out all at once. Or you can just kind of look at the questions and get a sense and then go back in and actually fill it out. Couple other good questions here. Let's see. Will there be a split between AG and ag, seafood, or fishery producers? No, we are not going to say, you know, five will go to seafood and 4 will go to ag. That's we will look at all of the applications based on their merit. Can one company submit 2 different proposals for 2 different projects? That's a great question. I would say, I guess I would say the answer to that is yes. I think if one company is submitting more than 2, I'm going to question the focus and whether or not there's ability to manage all of those things in the next year. So I guess I would say, you know, yes, 2 is probably legitimate. More than that, I would dissuade one from doing that. Do products need to be made with 100% main grown ingredients, or will products with mixed sourcing be considered? Mixed sourcing will be considered. And again, you know, there's just a priority on folks who are sourcing from main ingredients and increasing their ability to source from main ingredients. So I guess I would say that, you know, if your product is made with just, you know, is like 0.01% made with main ingredients, it may not get the same priority that a product would that's, you know, has a significant main makeup. Let's see. Can you talk more about Can you talk more about sourcing from main agriculture sources? This is a really tricky question, I guess. I mean, I think the purpose behind the Tastemakers program is to support the main regional food system, including agriculture and aquaculture businesses. So I think as you are putting together your proposal and thinking about whether or not your project will be competitive, I would encourage you to think about, you know, if your company, if your project, and if your product fits within that sort of goal, overall overarching goal for the program. I will also say, Courtney, if you're here, and if there's something here that you want to weigh in on, please just unmute yourself and feel free. I'm just going to introduce Courtney Cosgrove is here, and Courtney is the well, why don't you tell us your title?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I can do
in
that.
person, but
Yep, I'm the agriculture and food systems program manager at Focus Maine. So we partner with CEI on this project for a few years now, and we're excited for this year and the few adjustments and the impact this project has had over time. So yeah, happy to jump in if necessary.
thank you. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're getting so many good questions. I'm starting to lose them up in the, here we go. Okay. Can the funds go towards a portion of a piece of equipment? Yes, absolutely. I can imagine one would say, I have a $10,000 piece of equipment, but I really don't know how to set it up and use it efficiently. And I'd like to hire someone, an engineer or someone to help me figure out how to best use the piece of equipment. So I'll spend $15,000 on, getting that assistance. So, yes, absolutely. And I guess also I think I misunderstood that question. Yes, if you have a piece of equipment that costs $50,000 and you want to put $25,000 towards that piece of equipment, yes, that's fine. But you need to you need to prove to us that you have the ability to finance the rest of that piece of equipment. I think where and then that piece of equipment will need to be procured before the December deadline. So I think we just will want to feel confident that everything's in alignment to get you there.
My turn, Bradley.
Yeah, Jeff, go in there. Yeah.
Thanks. I looked through the application yesterday and I have a question from there. So for a project, what I would like to do would be to do a design project for a construction or facility. So the construction is going to be a $500,000 or $1 million construction, for example. So if we're going to put in for a design proposal for a $25,000 design proposal, do you want to see the rest of the project cost captured as part of the there was 3 questions there, I think, that were
No, that's a great question. That's a great question. So yes and no. I mean, I guess I would like to have a vague sense for sort of the entire project cost. So I don't need to know what each, how much the septic system is going to cost and how much the roof is going to cost. But I guess I would like to know, the total project budget for the building, and then, what it is that the $25,000 is paying for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and even though the rest of the project is going to go out past 2024, the design would get completed in 2024, and then the rest of it's going to be 25 and 26 spends.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I guess I'm questioning a little bit whether or not I think I want to have a sense for sort of the scope of the project. It's not so much like, I'm not going to come back and say to you, a year from now in our survey, like, well, did the building cost $500,000 or 600,000? That's like, that's but I think it just would be good to have a sense for what is this project, and what is the scope of it. So if that helps, in the project budget, in the expenses line of the application, I guess I don't need to have the full cost of the building in there. Maybe just include the 25,000 and how that would be spent, but then maybe in the project description, if you can just kind of give a sense for the scope of the project, that would be helpful.
Okay, and similarly for a larger project that's going to be multiple years, this is one piece of it around job creation. What would you want to see there, where the design isn't going to create any jobs in 2024, but it's going to go towards the construction that's going to create jobs in 2025 and 26. You had said you're going to be tracking for 3 years.
Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna be tracking for 3 years and I guess I would just like to have a sense for, and I do think there's a question in there that says something like, in the application that says, are you planning to create jobs in the next 12 months?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's what you're, and I did, question whether or not, we wanted to put 12 or 36 months in there. I guess I would say, yeah, if you feel like it's not gonna create jobs in the next 12 months, that's fine. Just say no, but put in there, your plan for what you expect in the next,
Okay.
3 to 5 years. What you think that this will allow you to do. Awesome. Let's see. Okay. If a project has construction costs in order to build equipment, does only the material costs of the equipment qualify? If a project has construction costs in order to build equipment. I am not sure that I understand the question completely. If you feel comfortable coming off of mute and asking, I'm happy, or you could maybe type a little bit more detail so I can understand. That was Maureen Goranson. I will skip to the next question, but I'll make sure to come back to that one. If you purchase, for example, refrigeration equipment, would it need to be installed by December or just acquired? It's a great question. I would say definitely acquired. And if there is a plan in place to have it installed and it is not 100% installed by December, we would just want to know, please just provide detail about sort of that you have a solid plan and when it will be installed. I think that if it's gonna, not be installed until the March of 2025, I would feel, question a little bit whether or not it fits into this program, but if it's going to be installed in January 18th, and that's when you have a date to install it, I think that would be okay. Courtney, do you have a comment or a suggestion on that?
No, I think that's right. And as long as like the installation costs are not part of the grant, then that makes sense.
Very good point. Yeah, exactly. So we need to have all of the invoices in by December 1st. So that's that's that piece. Okay, so coming back to the question about construction, I'm referring to the construction of a high tunnel, okay, to grow a new crop not currently being grown in Maine. It is currently not available in an organic farm in the US, which needs that in order to grow here. Okay. This is a really, I think that the construction costs question is challenging. We have said that we won't include the costs of construction. And I include in that, say, for example, if someone were building, someone wanted to build a new, an addition to their facility, I would say the cost of cement for laying the foundation would not be a good use of these funds. And so, I'm sort of, I guess I'm feeling a little challenged to understand, if these costs were used to purchase the supports for a high tunnel, it feels very close to, paying for construction costs. And so I think when we're thinking about equipment here, we're thinking more about sort of a standalone piece of equipment or machinery. And Courtney, again, I'm gonna ask you, does that seem like the right answer to you? Some of this stuff is really a little tricky, and this is a new area for us this year, including equipment, so it's we're kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, I think that's on the right track. And I would say if there's like further questions, we can talk about it offline too as well.
Definitely. I would encourage you to reach out to us to sort of ask that question. And that goes for anyone who's looking at, some kind of costs related to construction, or equipment, and you're not sure if it's considered construction costs or not. Please do reach out to us. I don't want you to have to go through the entire application process and then be disqualified for that. So what do you look for in terms of an established business? Are relatively new businesses eligible to apply? Yes, I would say relatively new. I think as long as you have if it's a business idea, then that isn't it doesn't fit within the criteria. If it is if you have an established product or and you are looking to I think in some ways, thinking about sort of the jobs piece of this, if you are a solo entrepreneur and you're really in the stage of business where you're not ready to make any hires, I would consider that when thinking about this as those projects that will be job creators will be on that priority list. So it's not so much that you'd be ineligible, but it would be that perhaps your project might not be at the top of the priority list. So any other questions?
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just asked that question about established businesses. I'm an employee of the business that it's been incorporated for the last 2 years and it's been in sort of cultivating land for the last 4 years, but it hasn't had any revenues in the last 2 years. Would that be an issue in the application?
I think I would want to know why. And what the plan is for that to change. So if yeah, I guess I think it would be tricky for me to answer the question without knowing a little more detail, but I guess I would say I would really want to understand why the business has had no revenue and where the business plan is to kind of turn that around and shift, and then how this project would affect that.
Of course. Okay, thank you.
And then, so Karen, to your question, there's the question that says, is any weight given to retaining employees? And I love that question. It's a really important one. And I think this program is really focused on job growth. However, if you have a project that is going to grow revenue, grow your business and grow revenue, and you can show that that's the goal, and in doing that, both retain employees and potentially have increase jobs in the future, then that's great, and particularly if there's a plan for if those jobs are really good jobs with benefits and good pay. So those are, I guess, the things that I would take into consideration and thinking about how competitive the proposal would be. What else? So I guess I would say that I am happy to stay on and answer any additional questions that folks have. Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm so I will sort of stay on, and folks can I will say, please reach out. We will have someone monitoring the Tastemakers email, and Tara over there will be monitoring the Tastemakers email, and you know, answering questions for folks as they come up. We will do another question and answer session at the end of the month, so that folks, you know, if you've had time to think through things. Yes, Tanya, go right ahead and unmute.
Hi there. Yeah, I figured it'd be easier to just talk than type this one.
Yeah.
But I'm just want to make sure that I understand as far as like the project proposals, like say that I have a couple different products that I'm working on, but like we're also looking to hire someone. Can that all be combined into one proposal, or do you think that it's best to just make, as somebody was asking before, like two separate proposals? I'm just kind of wondering, like, can those kind of things be combined, or should we just really focus on one project?
Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I got a little, can you just say that one more time?
Totally. So say like I'm working on some food projects that I'm trying to get off the ground, but in the same time, we're also looking to perhaps hire an HR person. Could that be combined into a proposal, or should that be two separate proposals?
I would say, from what you said, I would say that absolutely can be combined in terms of, you know, in terms of thinking about, so if you are engaging in a project that, you know, if you are planning to grow, and as part of that, you are hiring an HR manager, that's great. I mean, that's fantastic. And so it doesn't have to be, you know, let's say the project is for purchasing a piece of equipment that like cuts the stems off of
Mushrooms.
mushrooms. And it's gonna make things move faster, and you're gonna be able to do more volume, and therefore you're gonna be hiring a new bagger and an HR person. All of those things fit into that big picture of how this will help you grow, and you know, the kinds of jobs that you're creating from that growth. So that to me is part of the big picture of one project. Now, if you have yeah, and even let's say, you know, your project was to purchase a $10,000 piece of equipment that cuts the stems off of the mushrooms, and the other, you know, and you have another $10,000 piece of equipment that's gonna, you know, bag the mushrooms really quickly. All of that could be part of one project, which is, you know, under the auspices of sort of, you know, production efficiency, and being able to increase the amount of product that you're getting out the door. So yeah, I would say that, you know, for the most part, all of that is going to be one project.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Yeah, and even in you explaining that, I understand more about, like, you know, basically asking for this sum of money for these amount of projects. Like, we would ultimately just propose or do one grant proposal. So that sounds good. I just wanted to make sure that we could cover a couple different things because we are growing, and this looks like a good opportunity. So thank you so much for this information session.
Great, absolutely, no problem. Yeah, and Carrie is asking, how are you defining healthy food? We produce maple syrup as well as value-added maple products. I'm only laughing because when I say everyday foods, maple syrup is an everyday food for me. So, no joke. I love maple syrup. But that being said, so I will say that this piece of the healthy foods is really tricky. It is subjective, right? what I would consider, I think maple candy might not be the most, if this was the most healthy product line, would be considered under sort of a healthy product line. That being said, I think, maple syrup is a very healthy alternative to refined sugar, right? So, all of this is going to be a little bit, we have humans who are going to be reviewing these projects and are going to be making some of these calls. And so, but I would say, maple is an important main product. It is, a healthy-ish product. And so I wouldn't discourage you from applying if that's your product. Let's see. Will the committee only fully fund or pick and choose if app includes more than one thing? I would say we will only fully fund. So, well, if you have, let's put it this way, if you have a great project and there is one item in your proposal that's ineligible, we will still, and we really love the other piece of your project, we might say, hey, we really want to go ahead and fund your project, but we can't cover the cost of the cement for the floor, or, so I will, I keep using cement as an example, but, so I guess it's probably going to be a little bit of a case to case. Typically, we would like to fund your whole project, but if there's something in there that's ineligible, we will still consider the proposal. Let's see. Yeah, healthy food, ice cream, local milk. Oh. I do also love ice cream. This is not about what I love, of course, but I will say that if we have a project, so again, it's really hard to say yes or no. In the past, we have funded alcohol companies, we have funded, beer, we have funded, chocolate. So, again, I will say it does not make you ineligible. It's just that if there is a project that is going to, innovate the way that we are processing carrots and selling healthy carrots to 1,000 Maine schools in Maine, then perhaps that would get a priority over candy or an ice cream project. So it does not make you ineligible. So you'll just have to think about in terms of how it will be prioritized, and whether or not you want to take the time to apply. But the application process, I will say, I'm going to get myself in trouble. We're going to have a lot of applications. The application process is not onerous, at least in my opinion. It is a very simple application. And, so again, if, in case that helps you make a decision about whether or not it's worth it for you to apply. Unfortunately, I missed the first part of the session. Will it be emailed? Yes. Or we will not be emailing to folks just because we don't have everyone. We didn't have folks register for the webinar, but we will have it posted on the website, on the application, on the Tastemakers page. So you can access it there, or you can email us at Tastemakers and we can send it to you. No problem. What else? There's one more question. Okay. I think that's it. Any other thoughts or questions? There's so many good food. I like the bakeries and the mushrooms and maple syrup and ice cream. This is all making me hungry. And the cute cat. All right, it looks like folks have, for the most part, asked all of the questions that they have. I would say, I encourage anyone to, reach out with questions, and probably the sooner the better. We will do another webinar at the end of the month in case things come up and you have, questions then. But yeah, if there are no other questions, I think we'll wrap up at this point. We're at 11:45. Any final thoughts, Courtney or Tara? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you,
guess-
everybody. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to thank you again, and I'm gonna send an email, I think later today, with some more background on my business, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Allie. All right, well, thank you all for coming, and I wish that we could fund all of the businesses and all the projects. There's so much good work going on out there, and don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll look forward to hearing from all of you.